All right, thanks, guys. Coming off a very nice 2-in-1 day in our premium Patreon picks. Patreon.com/BrockPage. Link for that website is in the description section below. All right, happy Sunday to you guys. We have some early morning baseball to get to. The London series between the Yankees and the Red Sox. That's going to get kicked off at 10:10 Eastern Standard Time. So once again, we have the Yankees taking on the Red Sox. 10:10 Eastern first pitch. AM, of course. 10:10 AM Eastern first pitch. Across the pond in London. The Yankees are -120. Totals at 16 flat. No, you did not mishear me. 16 flat is where the total's at. Now, we did see a 10-cent move toward the Yankees in the early wagering. We also saw a movement upward on the total. That one opened at 14.5. So once again, the Yankees open $1.10 up to -120. Total open 14.5 up to 16 flat. 52% of the consensus is leaning toward the Red Sox. 51% of the consensus is shaded toward the over. Right now, the Red Sox are plus $1.10 on the money line. The Yankees plus $1.20, laying the 1.5 on the run line. We have Stephen Tarpley for the Yankees, Eduardo Rodriguez for the Red Sox. Rodriguez is 8-4 with 97 strikeouts in just 92 1/3 innings pitched. Now Tarpley on the other side, 6.48 ERA, 1.36 WHIP. The Yankees are 26th in runs scored on the road. They're also 25th in hits in that same category. Now Boston on the other side, they're 3rd in hits, 1st in walks, and 1st in striking batters out. Now total-wise, Boston is 5-1 to the under, taking on the Yankees this season. So with all that in mind, I think there's some pretty good value here at a neutral site. Give me the Boston Red Sox plus $1.10 and the under 16 runs in that matchup there. Before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick timeout and just welcome you to the show. Got some lines of personal leans out for Sunday's Major League Baseball action. But before we proceed with that, just got to quickly remind you to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. And like I said, when we opened this one up, had a solid day yesterday. We went 2-1 in our premium Patreon plays. We're also doing very well in several different categories as well. You can check that out on patreon.com/BrockPage. My current record is a part of the free content, so you can go right there and check it out. And we're doing very well in several different categories. And I'll tell you what, this has so far been the best Major League Baseball season, at least the best Major League Baseball first half of the season that we've had since I started doing this whole YouTube thing. So very, very good job there on Patreon with the MLB picks. Check me out, patreon.com/BrockPage. We have plenty of different memberships, packages, and tiers for you, and they begin at just $1.99 per month. Once again, link for that site is in the description section below. And with that said and done, let's go ahead and move back into some more lines of personal leans. All starts Eastern Standard Time. And on deck, we've got Indians taking on the Orioles, 1:05 Eastern first pitch at Camden Yards. The Indians are -240, totals 10.5. We did see a 15-cent move toward the Indians and movement upward on the total. Once again, the Indians open 225 up to -240. Total open 9.5 up to 10.5. 68% are leaning Indians, 71% shaded toward the over. Right now, Baltimore's plus $2 on the money line. Cleveland -145 on the run line. We have Shane Bieber for the Indians. Gabe Enwa for the Orioles. Enwa's 0-5 with a 6.75 ERA and a 1.54 WHIP. Meanwhile, Shane Bieber on the other side, 6-3 on the year, 3.83 ERA, and a 1.10 WHIP. Very nice out of him. He also has 122 strikeouts thus far on the season, virtually unhittable. Now, the O's have won just 11 out of 41 at home this year. That is god-awful. They're also winning just 16% of their games played at the current market price. Now, Cleveland on the other side, they are 6th in runs allowed, 5th in walks allowed. When it comes to the total, Baltimore is 6-1 to the over in their last 7. Give me the Cleveland Indians -1.5 and the over 10.5 in that game. Next matchup, Royals, Blue Jays, 107 Toronto. The Jays are -120, totals 9.5. We did see a nickel fade of the Jays and movement upward on the total. Once again, the Jays open 125 down to minus 120. Total open 9 up to 9.5. 55% are leaning Toronto, 73% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Royals are plus 110 on the money line. Toronto's plus 155 on the run line. We have Brad Keller for the Royals, Aaron Sanchez for the Blue Jays. Sanchez really struggling this year, just 3-10 on the season thus far. He's got a 5.89 ERA and a 1.70 WHIP. He also has 48 bases on balls in just 84 innings pitched. Toronto's won just 6 out of their last 18, taking on teams under 460. They're also just 359 at home this year. A couple more things to add about Toronto. They're dead last in walks allowed in Major League Baseball. They are also dead last in home hits per contest on average. Now, total-wise, Kansas City's 5-2 to the under in their last 7. They're also 11-6 to the under when Keller makes the first pitch. Give me the Royals plus 110 and the under 9.5 in that matchup there. Next game, Rangers. Rays, 110, Tampa Bay. The Rays are minus 190, total 7.5. We did see pretty significant movement in this one. 20-cent fade of Tampa Bay on the money line. We also saw movement downward on the total. Once again, the Rays open 210, down to minus 190. Total open 8, down to 7.5. 57% are leaning Tampa Bay, 82% shaded toward the over. Right now, Texas is plus 170 on the money line. Tampa Bay plus $1.15 on the run line. We have Chavez for the Rangers, Snell for the Rays. Now, Snell comes into this game with just a 4-7 record, a 5.01 ERA, and a 1.34 WHIP. Meanwhile, Chavez on the other side, 3-2 on the year, 2.79 ERA, and a 1.22 WHIP. Tampa Bay's won just 6 out of their last 18 games. They're also just 19-21 ATS at home. Of course, when I refer to the spread, ATS against the spread, the number, covering, all that good stuff, I'm actually referring to the run line. So once again, Tampa Bay just 19-21 ATS at home. They're also second to last in striking out on home on average per game. They've also won just 8 out of 23 games, taking on teams over 540. So really struggling with those elite teams. And speaking of which, Texas is 6-1 in their last 7. They're also 26-14 ATS away from home. They're 5th in scoring, 6th in road walks. And when it comes to the total, Tampa Bay is 75% to the over at home at the current posted total. Give me the Rangers plus 1.5 and the over 7.5 in that matchup there. Next game, Nationals. Nationals, Tigers. 110 Eastern first pitch in Detroit. Washington is the massive $3.40 favorite, total 8.5. We did see a 40-cent move toward Washington and movement upward on the total. Once again, the Nats open 300 up to minus 340. Total open 8 up to 8.5. 69% are leaning Nationals, 57% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Tigers are plus 280 on the money line. Washington minus $1.85 on the run line. We have Max Scherzer for the Nats, Zimmerman for the Tigers. Zimmerman's 0-5 with a 5.95 ERA and a 1.45 WHIP. Meanwhile, Scherzer on the other side, 7-5 on the year, 2.52 ERA and a 1.03 WHIP. Scherzer also has 156 strikeouts thus far and just 114 third innings pitched. Now, Detroit's last in scoring in Major League Baseball. They're also second to last in striking out. They've won just 12 out of 40 at home this year. And when it comes to the total, Detroit's 63% to the over when Zimmerman makes the start. Give me the Nationals minus 1.5 and the over 8.5 in that game. And before we move on, I'm going to take a timeout and take a swig of coffee. Very good. That is Café Bustet. And for you gringos out there, Café Bustelo. Of course, I'm a gringo myself, so very derogative term. Shouldn't have said that, but very funny. All right, next game. Cubs. Reds. As I take one more swig of Café Bustet. All right, Cubs, Reds, 110 Cincinnati at the Great American Small Park. The Cubs are minus 120, totals at 10. We saw a 15-cent move toward the Cubs and movement downward on the total. Once again, the Cubs open 105 up to minus 120. Total open 10.5 down to 10 flat. 63% are leaning Cubs, 58% shaded toward the under. Right now, the Reds are plus 110 on the money line. Chicago plus 135 on the run line. We have Big John Lester for the Cubs. Anthony DeSclafani for the Reds. DeSclafani has 77 strikeouts in just 74 and 2/3 innings pitched. Meanwhile, Big John Lester on the other side has a 1.31 whip in 82 and 1/3 innings pitched. Cincinnati's 5-1 in their last 6 at home. They're also 5-2 taking on the Cubs this year. They rank second in runs allowed and third in striking batters out. Now, the Cubbies on the other side, well, they're 22nd in Major League Baseball in striking out on the road. They're also dead last in walking batters on the road as well. When it comes to the total, Cincinnati is 39-16 to the under, taking on teams averaging more than 4.2 runs per contest. So with all that in mind, I'm going to lean toward another underdog in this one. In this case, it is a home dog. Give me the Reds plus 110 and the under 10 runs in that game. Next matchup, Phils, Marlins, 110 Eastern first pitch in Miami. Now, the Phils are the $1.25 favorite. I don't know how, because they have lost 5 straight to the Marlins. They got swept by the Marlins in Philadelphia earlier in the week, and now they are down 2-0 in this series in South Florida. So once again, Phillies minus 125 on the money line, totals at 8. Now, we did see a 25-cent fade of the Phillies in the early wagering, quarter fade of them in the early betting. We also saw movement downward on the total. So once again, Philadelphia open 150 all the way down to minus 125. Total open 8.5 down to 8 flat. 67% of the consensus is leaning toward the Phillies, 74% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Marlins are plus 115 on the money line, Phillies plus 130 on the run line. We do have Jake Arrieta for the Phils, Richards for the Marlins. Arrieta comes into this game with a 4.33 ERA and a 1.41 whip. So once again, Arrieta, 4.33 ERA, 1.41 whip. He's also got 39 free passes and just 97 and 2/3 innings pitched. Like I said, Phillies lost 5 straight to Miami this year. They're also 0-6 in their last 6 away from home. Phillies really struggled when traveling. They've won just 16 out of 39 away from home. They're also 26th in road hits allowed on average per game. Now, Miami on the other side, they're 11th in runs allowed. They're also 7th in hits allowed. They've gone 6-3 straight up in their last 9 ball games. When it comes to the total, Phillies 12-6 to the under, taking on teams averaging less than 3.9 runs per contest. So with all that in mind, I'm going to lean toward another underdog. In this case, give me the home dog. I'm going to take Miami plus 1.5 in the under 8 runs in that game. Next matchup. Pirates, Brewers. 2:10 Eastern first pitch in Milwaukee. The Brewers are minus 145, totals 10.5. Now, we did see a 25-cent fade of the Brewers and movement upward on the total. So once again, Milwaukee opened $1.70 down to minus 145, totals at 10 up to 10.5. 66% are leaning Brewers, 64% shaded toward the under. Right now, Pittsburgh's plus 135 on the money line. Milwaukee plus $1.25 on the run line. We have Steve Breaux for the Pirates, Zach Davies for the Brewers. Davies is 7-2 on the year with a 3.34 ERA. Meanwhile, on the other side, Steve Breaux is coming into this game with a 4.50 ERA, a 1.58 whip, and 27 walks in just 52 innings pitched. Pittsburgh has won just 6 out of their last 18 on the road. They rank 26th in walks allowed on average per game. They're also 26th in runs allowed per game. They're just 2-6 straight up taking on the Brewers this year. Meanwhile, when it comes to the scoring, Milwaukee is 12-4 to the under when Davies makes the first pitch. So with all that in mind, I'm going to lean Milwaukee minus 145 and the under 10.5 in that game there. Next matchup, Twins. White Sox. 2:10 Eastern first pitch at Guaranteed Rate Field in Chicago. No line currently posted for this game. We have Lewis Thorpe making his first start for the Twins, Lucas Giolito for the White Sox. Giolito comes into this game with a 10-2 record, 2.87 ERA, and a 1.07 whip. He's also got 111 strikeouts in just 91 innings pitched. The White Sox are 9-2 straight up in Giolito's last 11 starts. They're also 2-1 in their last 3. Minnesota, 20th in runs allowed on the road, 26th in striking batters out on the road. Give me the White Sox winning this one outright for some money line cash. Next game, Mariners, Astros, 210 Houston. The Astros are the massive $3 favorite, totals at 9. We did see a 15-cent fade of Houston and movement downward on the total. The Astros open minus 315, down to minus 300. Total open 9.5, down to 9 flat. 66% are leaning Houston, 57% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Mariners are plus 250 on the money line. Houston minus $1.70 on the run line. We have Marco Gonzalez for the Mariners, Garrett Cole for the Astros. Cole comes into this game with a 7-5 record, 3.42 ERA, and just a 1.05 whip. He's also got 151 strikeouts in just 102 and 2/3 innings pitched. Now, Gonzalez on the other side for the Mariners, he comes into this matchup with a 4.34 ERA and a 1.38 whip. Seattle's lost their last 3 straight. They're also 28th in striking out and second to last in runs allowed. Now, Houston, as bad as they've been over the past couple of weeks, they're still 20 games over 500, 52 and 32 overall for the year, and they've been very good at home, 30 and 13 on their home field. They rank first in hits allowed at home and second in striking batters out at home as well. Now, total-wise, Seattle's 30 and 15 to the over on the road. They're also 45 and 18 to the over when the line was 9 or higher. Give me Houston minus 1.5 and the over. 9 runs in that game. Next matchup, Dodgers, Rockies, 310 Colorado. The Dodgers are minus 180, totals at 13.5. We did see a nickel fade of the Dodgers and movement downward on the total. The Dodgers open 185 down to minus 180. Total open 14 down to 13.5. 64% are leaning Dodgers, 60% shaded toward the over. Right now the Rockies are plus 160 at home. Meanwhile the Dodgers are minus 125, laying the 1.5. We have Kenta Maeda for Los Angeles, Chichi Gonzalez for the Rockies. Now, Gonzalez didn't fare so well in his first start with the Rockies. 5 innings pitched. He's got a 5.40 ERA and a 2.00 whip. Now, Kenta Maeda on the other side, he's 7-4 for the Dodgers. 3.76 ERA, 1.10 whip. He's also got 83 strikeouts in 83 and 2/3 innings pitched. The Dodgers are 27 games over 500. That is unbelievable. 56 and 29 overall for the year. They're also 8-4 in their last dozen. They rank 5th in runs allowed on the road on average per game. They're also 1st in road walks allowed as well. Colorado on the other side, 24th in striking out, dead last in runs allowed at home, and they're also dead last in hits allowed at home as well. Now, total-wise, Colorado 6-1 to the over in their last 7 at Coors Field. They're also 25 and 15 to the over at Coors Field overall for the year. So with all that in mind, I'm going to lean Dodgers minus 1.5 and the over 13.5 in that game. Next matchup, Diamondbacks, Giants, 405 San Francisco. Pretty much a coin flip in this one. Both teams are minus 105, totals at 7.5. Now, we did see a 20-cent fade of San Francisco at home here. They open $1.25 down to minus 105, total open 8, down to 7.5. 54% are leaning Diamondbacks, 62% shaded toward the over. And like I said, the D-backs are minus 105 on the money line. San Fran, plus 200 on the run line, laying the 1.5. Might not be a bad spot for you because we have Madison Bumgarner projected on the bump for the Giants, Robbie Ray for the Diamondbacks. Robbie Ray is just 5-5 on the year with a little bit of a rotund 1.32 whip. Meanwhile, Mad Bum on the other side for the Giants, 104 strikeouts in just 104 2/3 innings pitched. The Diamondbacks are 422 in their third game without a day off. Of course, that's a win percentage. So once again, the Diamondbacks just 422 in their third game without a day off. They're also winning just 48% of their games at the current market price. Arizona's 19th in walks allowed on the road. They're also 21st in striking out on the road as well. When it comes to the total, the Diamondbacks are 10-2 to the over in their games played at the current posted total. So with all that in mind, I'm going to lean toward the home team in this matchup here. Give me the Giants minus 105 and the over 7.5 in that game. Next matchup, Oakland A's, LA Angels, 407 Los Angeles. The Angels are minus 135, totals at 10. We saw a 10-cent fade of the Angels and movement upward on the total. LA open 145, down to minus 135. Total open 9.5, up to 10 flat. Oakland's 51%. They're taking 51% of the consensus right now. Meanwhile, 69% are leaning toward the under. Oakland's plus 125 on the money line. Angels plus $1.40 on the run line. We have Chris Bassett for the A's, Andrew Heaney for the Angels. Heaney comes into this game with a 4.99 ERA and a 1.24 WHIP. Meanwhile, Bassett on the other side, 4-3 on the year with a 3.86 ERA. Oakland's been very good on the run line when traveling. They're 24-17 ATS on the road. They're also 6-1 straight up in their last 7 when traveling as well. One more thing to add about the A's, they are 4th in road scoring. Now, the Angels rank 20th in runs allowed at home. They're also 27th in walks allowed at home. When it comes to the total, Oakland's 32-17 at the over, taking on teams allowing more than 4.2 runs per contest. Give me the Oakland A's plus 1.5 in the over 10 runs in that game. Next matchup, Cards, Padres, 410 San Diego. The Pods are minus 115, totals at 8. We did see a 20-cent fade of San Diego and movement upward on the total. The Pods open 135, down to minus 115. Total open 7.5, up to 8 flat. 58% are leaning Padres, 66% shaded toward the over. Right now, St. Louis is plus 105 on the money line. The Padres plus 170 on the run line. We have Miles Mikolas for the Cards, Joey Lucchesi for the Padres. Lucchesi comes into this game with a 6-4 record, 3.95 ERA, and a 1.11 WHIP. Mikolas on the other side, really struggling this year. Just 5-8 on the year, 4.33 ERA, and just 65 strikeouts in 89 1/3 innings pitched. Now, the Padres are 2nd in walks allowed at home, 5th in hits allowed in that same category. They've won their last 5 straight at home. They're also 17-9 straight up, taking on teams between 460 and 540. Now, St. Louis on the other side has won just 9 out of their last 27 as the official road underdog. They've also lost their last 5 straight at any location. So 5-game losing streak for the Cards. When it comes to the total, San Diego's 25-18 to the under at home. So with all that in mind, I'm going to lean Padres minus $1.15 and the under 8 runs in that game. Next and final matchup for the show, primetime game. We're talking about Braves, Mets, 7:08 in Flushing, Queens. Now the Braves, as good as they've been this year, they've been getting incredible price points. They're either the dog or just getting a very short shot. I mean, the Braves, there's so much value in the Braves in these games. I mean, any given game, even at home, they'll be the dog. So anyway, let's dive into this. Braves, Mets, 7:08 Flushing, Queens. The Mets are minus 110 in this one. Total's 8.5. And we saw a nickel move toward the Mets. This one pretty much opened as a pickup contest with both teams at minus 105. We also saw movement downward on the total. So once again, the Mets open 105, up to minus 110. Total open 9, down to 8.5. 56% of the consensus is leaning toward the Braves. 57% shaded toward the over. Now Atlanta's plus $1 on the money line. Meanwhile, the Mets are plus 185 on the run line. We have Max Fried for the Braves, Noah Syndergaard for the Mets, and of course, everybody remembers Syndergaard being so dominant, but he comes into this game with a 4.55 ERA and a 1.21 WHIP, which he's been getting banged around a little bit this year. And Max Fried on the other side, he's 9-3 with a 3.96 ERA. Now the Braves have won 4 out of their last 5 on the road. They're also 26-17 away from home this year. They rank 5th in scoring and 9th in striking batters out on the road. Now the Mets on their side of things, they're 24th in runs allowed and 21st in hits allowed. They're 10 games under 500, just 37-47 overall for the year. The Mets have lost their last 7 straight. Now the Mets are 11-4 to the over when Syndergaard makes the start. They're also 22-8 to the over, taking on teams over 540. Meanwhile, Atlanta on the other side, 7-2 to the over, taking on the Mets this year. They're also 22-10 to the over, taking on teams under 460. So with all that in mind, gotta lean toward the road dog in this one. Give me the Braves plus $1 and the over 8.5 in that game. All right, guys, that's going to do it for our Sunday slate. Let's go ahead and get into some shout-outs brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage. Got to give a shout-out to Will Smith, Bo Dunn, Vinny Smooth, Chuck Pinter, Norwal Music, Mike Wilkerson, Matt May, Carlos Rodriguez, who actually said to me the other day, "Enjoy your coffee, brother." I thought that was very sincere. I enjoyed the comment, and I got to let you know, it is Cafe Bustelo. Cafe Buste. That's what I enjoy, Carlos. So thank you for the comment. And I did enjoy my coffee, and I am enjoying it today. Shout out to Blown Stallone, Danny J, Ryan Nelson, Proline Master, Jimmy Johnson, Calico Jones, Julian Garcia, Stephen Lewis, Andrew Yuhana. I think I got it right today, Andrew. Shout out to Andrew Stirrup, who works at Walk and Roll down in the Bahamas. So if you're ever in Nassau, visit my man Andrew down there. He'll whip you up something good and maybe give you that BPP discount, maybe a little extra portion of pork fried rice or whatever. I don't know what you guys make at Walk and Roll, but I'm sure it's pretty damn good. Shout out to Dark Try, Gusto Auto, C Dinger, the Ding Man, straight to the point. And last but not least, I haven't seen him in a while, my man Eric Brown, who, great to see you, Eric. Thanks for dropping me a line in the comments section. All right, guys, let's go ahead and do a quick recap, and we're going to go last to first, beginning with the Braves-Mets that we just capped. I like the Braves plus $1 and the over 8.5. Cardinals at the Padres. I like the Padres minus $1.15 and the under 8 runs in that game. We have the Athletics taking on the Angels. I like Oakland plus 1.5 and the over 10. We also have the Diamondbacks taking on the Giants. I like the Giants minus 105 and the over 7.5 in that game. We have the Dodgers at Colorado. I like the Dodgers minus 1.5 and the over 13.5 in that game. I like the Mariners and the Astros. I like that game, and I like Houston minus 1.5 and the over 9 in that matchup. I also like the Twins and the White Sox. No line for that game, but I think the White Sox should win it outright with Giolito at the helm. Pirates, Milwaukee. I like Milwaukee minus 145 and the under 10.5. We also have the Phillies taking on the Marlins, and that game, the Phils are trying to avoid back-to-back sweeps at the hands of the Marlins. I like Miami plus 1.5 and the under 8 runs in that game. We also have Cubbies taking on the Reds. I like the Reds at home plus $1.10 and the under 10 runs. We have the Nationals taking on the Tigers here today, and that is on this other page here. Washington minus 1.5 and the over 8.5 in that game. We have the Rangers taking on the Rays. I like the Rangers plus 1.5 and the over 7.5 in that matchup. We have the Royals taking on the Blue Jays. I like Kansas City plus $1.10 and the under 9.5 in that game. We also have the Indians taking on the Orioles. I'm going to lean Indians minus 1.5 and the over 10.5 in that game. And then we have the morning game across the pond in London. I'm going to lean Boston plus $1.10 and the under 16 runs in that game. No, you did not mishear me. That line is currently posted at 16 flat. All right, guys, once again, that is going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on patreon.com/BrockPage. That's kind of like my operating website. We do daily plays on that site. Those are our premium plays. That's my personal action. So it's not like just throwing darts like I do here on the program. Although I'm giving you great free information, great content, Patreon really nails it down, and I share with you guys games that I personally have action on, which Obviously, it's not making 34 picks, 34 to 40 picks a game. You can't make money doing that. But, anyway, 2 to 3 picks a game, still maybe a little much, but that's what I do because I like to play. So anyway, patreon.com/BrockPage. Link for that website's in the description section below. And memberships begin at just $1.99 per month. So incredible value. Just another tool for you to kind of strengthen your arsenal when it comes to information and seeing where people are leaning towards and all that good stuff. So patreon.com/BrockPage. Link for that site is in the description section below. Happy Sunday to you guys. Most importantly, I really hope you enjoyed this free content, this free information right here on YouTube. I certainly enjoy producing it for you. And as always, don't forget to check me out on patreon.com/BrockPage.